Did you know that the way you decorate your home can directly impact your level of relaxation? And I'm not just talking about lighting a candle or incense. Stay with me until the end to learn how to create a more peaceful and stress-free environment. Hello, I'm Rena, an architect, and today I'll share practical tips on how to transform your home into a true sanctuary of peace using design psychology tricks. But before we start, make sure to subscribe to the channel to receive more decorating tips and share this video with someone you know who loves home decor. Let's get started. The first tip is about space. Imagine you're traveling and need to choose between two hotels. Which one would you pick? Probably the one in the first image, right? For our ancestors, open spaces with water and trees meant safety, shelter, and food, all essential for survival. This is why we have an innate connection with nature, and we can bring this into our homes to improve our well-being through biophilia. To feel relaxed, we can introduce nature into our homes with plants, but not just any plants. When buying a plant for a peaceful space, choose those with rounded leaves, avoiding sharp-edged ones. While easy to care for, the latter are not ideal for creating a relaxing environment. Instead, place them in areas like the kitchen or office, where relaxation isn't the main focus. This choice is a psychological trick because plants with sharp edges remind our brain of knives or weapons, triggering stress. You can also use art or photographs of natural landscapes. However, not all nature scenes are equal. Our brains prefer open spaces, which historically allowed us to detect danger. So opt for images of open fields, lakes, and clear skies to reduce stress, rather than dark forests or rocky areas. We can enhance this feeling of openness with airy environments. You know that place where you feel the breeze on your face? Such spaces feel open not because of the breeze itself, but because they are visually uncluttered. To achieve this effect, balance full and empty spaces by not overcrowding with items, but also avoiding a sparse, unfinished look. Leave breathing room on walls, use light colors, allow natural light, and keep pathways clear. The second tip is to create a cohesive environment. Homogeneous spaces with fewer details are generally more pleasant, whereas complex environments, though attractive, can be challenging and cause tension. For a cohesive look, use a monochromatic color palette. If repainting or replacing furniture isn't possible, use textiles like curtains, bed linens, and cushions in uniform colors to achieve harmony. The third tip is maintaining visual complexity. The patterns, shapes, and organization of a space determine how relaxed or tense you feel. Some spaces with too much information can be overstimulating, while overly simple ones can seem dull. Striking a balance in visual complexity helps create a pleasing environment. Each of us has a different tolerance for stimuli, so explore various images to find your comfort level. Organization also plays a role. Having too many objects in one area can feel chaotic. Some might feel calm with just 2 books on a shelf, while others prefer a full library. To maintain medium or low visual complexity, incorporate neutral tones in foundational elements like walls, floors, ceilings, and large furniture. Opt for closed cabinets to hide clutter and limit decorative items to those that hold meaning for you. The fourth tip is to choose calming textures. Finer, softer textures are more relaxing, both to touch and to see. For instance, if you want a relaxing bedroom, select wallpaper with small-scale patterns or soft designs. Mixing various cushion designs is fine, but avoid contrasting patterns to maintain tranquility. When choosing prints, combine them with solid fabrics in colors already present in the space for a monochromatic palette. Wood is a common decor element that brings us closer to nature, thus calming us, but its use should be balanced. Studies show that limiting wood to about 45% of surfaces maintains visual balance. Beyond that, the space might feel heavy or claustrophobic. Natural stones can also create a calming atmosphere, but texture matters. Larger stones with fewer seams and uniform colors are more soothing than smaller, varied stones. The fifth tip is identifiability. Having a recognizable object or corner in your space feels pleasant, while the opposite causes tension. This applies to layout. Clear functions, pathways, and access points make a space easily understood, and to feeling connected to a place. In my course, Your Decorated Home, I teach how to incorporate personal touches into your decor. While I can't show the entire process here, my main advice is to decorate with items you identify with, regardless of style or trends. This connection helps you feel more at home and relaxed. The sixth tip is decorating with balance, symmetry, and repetition. These strategies reduce cognitive load, freeing your mind to relax and enjoy the space. In nature, symmetry signifies health and stability, which is why we like symmetrical faces and well-formed trees. Repetition creates predictability, calming us by setting expectations. Incorporate these concepts by arranging objects symmetrically around a central element. For example, on a console with a centered mirror, place identical lamps on either side. With furniture, symmetrical arrangements around a focal point, like a fireplace, are pleasing. Objects don't need to be identical. Similar visual weight creates symmetry. The seventh tip is incorporating curves. Imagine walking on a soft, sandy beach, observing the gentle waves. It's relaxing, but turn to jagged rocks and you feel alert. One view invites relaxation, the other survival. We find calming forms in clouds, flowers, and leaves, while sharp edges trigger stress. Curves can be incorporated through arches in furniture or passageways, rounding corners of walls or furniture, and selecting curvier patterns. The eighth tip concerns color selection. Colors significantly impact an environment's feel. Consider three properties: hue, the color itself; saturation, the color's vibrancy; and value, brightness. A relaxing space doesn't need to be just neutral tones. You can use color effectively by choosing low saturation shades for calmness. For example, a low saturation red is more soothing than a vibrant one. Choose low saturation tones for any color to avoid overstimulation. The ninth tip is selecting the right temperature for your space. Temperature relates to thermal comfort, affecting relaxation. If you prefer cold, a cooler environment relaxes you. If you prefer warmth, a warmer space does. This applies to colors too. Cold lovers should opt for cool hues like blue and green, while warmth lovers should choose warm tones like yellow and red. The 10th tip is creating a protected space. I mentioned earlier the importance of open spaces. A safe location promotes relaxation, which you can achieve through layout. Position seating to face or view entrances, and use objects to protect the backs of seats, not against walls. This prevents the feeling of potential surprise. Create protective enclosures around relaxation areas with tables, plants, or baskets. The penultimate tip is choosing matte finishes. Matte surfaces diffuse light, while glossy ones reflect it, increasing information and tension. For a relaxed environment, matte finishes are preferable. Use matte or satin paint instead of semi-gloss. While matte paint can be harder to clean, satin works well too. Consider refinishing glossy wood with matte varnish to reduce light reflection. For flooring, choose satin tiles over polished ones, and opt for brushed finishes for natural stones like granite. I mentioned earlier that the previous tip was the penultimate, but actually, this is the penultimate tip. Have you ever been at home sitting on the couch in silence, perhaps reading or just resting, or lying in bed ready to sleep, and then you hear a repetitive noise? You might not even know what it is, maybe a dripping faucet or a ticking clock. You try to ignore it, but it becomes irritating. There's a reason for this. Our brains are wired for protection, and in the wild, any out-of-the-ordinary noise, like a snapping branch, could signal danger. These unexpected sounds are stressful. If they can't be fixed, mitigate their effect by using fabrics and absorbent materials to minimize reverberation. To improve acoustic comfort, add curtains, cushions, books, rugs, wooden furniture, and upholstery to reduce noise perception. The 12th tip is choosing the right lighting. White light is great for day-to-day activities, but for a relaxing environment, warm lighting is key. If you prefer white light, use neutral bulbs with a 4000 K color temperature, not too yellow, not too blue. Create layers of lighting with multiple fixtures instead of relying solely on general lighting for a softer ambiance. Having a decor that reflects your taste and conveys the desired atmosphere is fundamental for relaxation. I teach.